Welcome to Builds with Blocks, a show centered around the micro action figures and brick-based construction sets of the Halo universe. I am your host, Matt Salvatore, and today I am joined by Colin Perkins.
It's flood time. That's
Gabe
not us.
Clem.
Hey, guys.
And Tom Fishington.
I'm here to chew gum and blast grunts. And I'm all out of gum.
We're talking about flood, Tom, not grunts.
Dude, it gets better every week.
Hi, guys.
And thank you for joining Builds with Blocks, a show centered around it. We'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.
That's it. We're done.
Okay, so today's episode, we're going to be taking a kind of a playbook out of our old episodes, and we're going to be ranking some sets. We've ranked previous games before, Reach, CE, and the Halo trilogy, but this time we're going to be taking a look at the faction within the Halo universe. Now, these sets aren't a monument to Mega Construct sins, they're a monument to their success. So, let us examine the Halo Flood sets. And these are going to be the top 10 essential Halo Flood sets that you need to have in your collection, even though I have none. So we're going to break these down and discuss them. But first, before we do that, we're going to go around the horn and see what we've all been up on the block front. Let's start with you, Gabe. What are we going with?
Not a lot. It's been very boring here at the shop.
That was anticlimactic.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Tom,
Customs.
I've been doing. I'm in the last 2 weeks of my semester here, so a lot of my time's been soaked up into my exams and quizzes and writing papers, and I haven't been able to go out and get any new Halo stuff. I went to a Target to look. Still haven't seen Series 13 of the heroes. I haven't seen the helmets. Everything's just really bland right now. I haven't seen the new blind packs. Kind of sucks, but I mean, we're trying to make it work. I've got some new customs coming out. I've been taking my time. I finally finished the new Halo Reach Elite Ultra. If you guys haven't checked me out on Instagram at G Customs Creations, you can see that post there. I'm really happy with it. But I've got some new Spartans and Elites coming up. And actually, because of this episode, I've got a new Floodling that I'm putting together. I think you all will enjoy.
Ooh, spooky.
I am excited.
Colin, what have we been up to?
So Bovie and I finally met up. We split
sick.
a lot. It's been,
Shouts out.
I think since October when we bought that lot. It was still the snow had not flown yet, and I picked up this lot. And I built as much as I could, and it was fine. There's a lot of stuff in it, but almost like every set included was missing something, right? So, and plus the guy that sold it to us, he definitely kept all the figures, like the good figures. We got a ton of figures, and that's the main reason that he wanted a lot. But anyway, it finally got out of my house. So it feels like once a year, Bovie and I split a lot that I have in my house for way too long. So anyway, we took care of that. We did a meetup, and we actually, so he hooked me up with the combat units because I hadn't had those yet. And so that's the last piece of I think I'm all up to date. I think I have everything now.
Sweet.
And then what else? Oh, he hooked me up with heroes. So I finally have these beautiful babies in my possession. So I got the full.
Yes.
I just have one of each. You guys already have yours. Come on, I'm the last one. So I'm excited about that. And then he also, and I completely forgot about this. Tom, I don't know if you'll remember this, but because it was just, well, his wife was there too, so it was a meeting, but he presented me with this.
Yeah.
What is this? And inside is Mickey.
Oh,
nice.
snap.
Because
Was his wife like getting more and more panicked as you were opening?
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. I forgot completely that we did that. So anyway, if you guys remember the story, Tom was in need of Mickey. I had a Mickey. Bovie had a Mickey. Bovie said he would give his Mickey to Tom, but it was during COVID, right? It's still during COVID. So I sent my Mickey off and just forgot that I didn't have a Mickey anymore until thankfully Bovie remembered and hooked me up with my Mickey.
Thank
So,
you, Bovie.
Yeah, man.
So there's that, and then I just have one more thing to show you really quick. I did prepare for the show. I have the majority. Actually, I think I have all the flood sets. I believe I have them all, but I
Lucky.
hadn't built them all. So I had one that I need to build.
Colin's just peddling on all these sets he hasn't built yet.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
there we go.
This
snap.
thing is gorgeous. Like the
Yes,
color
it is.
of these blocks. Oh, it's just amazing. So
Nice.
this is the first Falcon I built from scratch. I've pieced some together that I've gotten in lots. And I was hoping that the build was different, that you could actually get guys in there, to Matt's point, but alas, you cannot. So it's still
Betrayed
a beautiful
Yeah, still
vehicle
pretty.
and a beautiful
It's a
color.
good
But
vehicle.
yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Well, excellent.
Sweet.
Good to hear, Bovie. We got to have the guy on the show a couple more times.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
been doing some really awesome engagement with our previous episodes, and
Yeah.
he disowned me after our last ranking episode. But
Gee.
we'll always be Mammoth Brothers, Bovie.
That's right.
Okay, Tom, what have you been up to on the block front?
So not strictly the block front, but the Halo front. As I lifted up at the start of the show, I got. Well, it's not going to show it fully, but the Nerf Bulldog.
Yeah. I think it's great.
I really love these Nerf guns. The fact that they're kind of really close to being in scale. They're not quite there, but they're so close. They just feel a lot more authentic than Boomco. And I really loved what Boomco were doing, but a lot of their stuff was really small. And this feels like a really meaty gun that I'm really happy with.
Does the rotating
please
chamber
don't take
ever
that
get
clip
stuck?
out of context.
Does the rotating chamber get stuck ever, or is it all good like every time?
I've not noticed any problems with it, so it won't
good.
show perfectly on here, but you can see you like prime it, so I've already done that at the start.
That's
and then
so
fire,
cool, dude.
And it rotates itself at the back as you prime.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
That
I've
looks
not had any
awesome.
problems with it. It's got flip up iron sights as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So that's that. And there's a review up on that on our channel if anyone wants to check it out.
Thank you,
I-
patrons.
Was that-
Shouts out.
That was a patron, I believe.
yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for my beautiful gun.
Absolutely.
I will send you photos of me with this gun. I won't really, I'm sorry. And then alongside that, I had an envelope arrive from somebody on the call. Thank you, Colin, very much.
Oh, that's right. You're
I
welcome.
got one of the new Elite Ultra, 2 of the Skirmishers, and 2 of the Grunt Conscripts. Gabe, I'm so sorry because it's going to get worse and you'll be even more jealous. And then alongside that assortment, and the buildable Phantom, which was the whole reason for that envelope, so I better not forget it.
Right.
And
Yep.
then, alongside that, I had a big box of goodies arrive from my buddy Tim as well, which had a complete set of the Wave 2 blind bags in it. A couple of additional Grunt Imperials, the camouflaged Predator from the latest
Holy smokes,
Pacific
Tom.
Heroes
That's a nice
line.
figure.
Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell, who they've just done in that line.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A bunch
Dang.
of American candy. There was some really weird stuff in there. I don't know what the hell you guys eat.
He's probably talking about like a Kit Kat.
I
Right.
had like is it
Jeepers.
Nutter Butter biscuits.
Oh yeah, Nutter
yeah,
Butters.
Nutter Butters.
Those are weird.
I had those.
Yeah.
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 Huh.
Yeah.
And I giggled at that name for a long time. A Jurassic
God.
Park Jeep, and then going back to Halo, I got the Jazzwares Banished Ghost,
Yeah.
and
Ooh,
also
good find.
the Jega Redomni and Spartan Mark 5 pack. So
Yes, sir.
lots of Halo
Jega.
goodness this month.
Very
And
cool.
I've spent more on Lego as well, so my wallet's hurting for the 3rd month in a row, but I
Oh my
just don't
God.
care anymore.
He's
Sure. Yeah.
unstoppable.
You're on full COVID. You don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IDC.
I'm back
Yeah.
in the office soon, so I'm enjoying this life while I can.
Well, for any fans of the show, you can find our Thomas Fishenden on the street outside of his house where he's been
Right.
he's been evicted.
Panhandling.
Aw. All right, I'll go very quickly. So, last episode I mentioned that I had put in an order for custom figures for a Shazam and Black Suit Superman. So those guys finally showed up from Minifigure Madness.
Spicy.
This was actually, I'm actually really impressed with the printing on this. He's got more of a matte finish instead of like a glossy finish. So it feels a little rougher, but it looks great. It looks great.
A matte finish for Matt.
Ooh.
And then last episode, Tom was talking about United Bricks, which is a UK based company, right, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, UK, and he was talking about some military figures. So I asked Tom to send me the link just to look, and then I looked. And I'm like, oh, yeah, those are really nice. And then I go, well, let me just see what the exchange rate is when I add them to my cart, because obviously the pound is worth a little more than the dollar. And so I'm like, all right, so I ended up, oh, maybe add this. And I'm like, okay. So it just so happened that I accidentally slipped and ordered these. And
right.
So these guys showed up. And I got to say, I'm really, really impressed with the figure and just the attachments. I love that the harness doesn't cover the top, and you can actually rest the head on the actual torso piece. That's a huge step that I wish Lego would implement. But I'm very impressed with the customer service from these guys. I don't think I've had like such a positive experience ordering something in a while. So I ordered a couple of different skin tones for the Marines, and one of the ones that was out was on delay. So they delayed my order, and they sent me an email saying that because of the delay, they were going to throw in some goodies in the bag. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And so while that order was being delayed, I went and bought the vest pieces of the figure. And so it was a different order I had placed. But what they ended up doing was refunding my shipping for the second order, and they just ended up shipping everything out to me in one shipment. So
Solid.
they are a quality product with a quality team behind it. So I'm super impressed with that. I will be ordering more from them, so this is all your fault, Tom.
Callum, hit me up. I got you, bro.
So very impressed, and I really suggest that you guys go and look those guys up. They're really great to get all sorts of different types of military figures. World War II, they got some great stuff. And
What was the name again of the company?
United Bricks.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
They're
they
really
do some
cool.
cool.
They're a small family-run business that's based up in Scotland, and they've got a little toy shop in the Scottish village of Dumfries and Galloway as well.
Nice.
So printings are awesome, really cool. So I suggest you guys go check them out because they obviously the pound's a little more. So don't be fooled by the price. If you're an American, it's going to be a little more, but it's good stuff, good quality
stuff. It
stuff.
might not be for long.
Yeah, right. But good stuff. So I recommend you go check those guys out. But now we are going to get on to the main topic of the show, which is the flood.
Sweet.
Now, do you guys on a just a real quickly on a faction level, is the Flood your favorite faction enemy in Halo, or where does it rank between Covenant, Flood, Prometheans? Where does it kind of go for you? Where's the Flood for you guys?
I'll jump in. The Flood are necessary for Halo. Halo doesn't exist without the Flood, right? So it's what sets this universe apart, and it's interesting because we've at least I think a lot of people that are into the lore and into the story are kind of starved for Flood because it's been so long, and we know that they're an integral part of the Halo universe. So we've gotten some, but really the run that Mega has had is when the Flood hasn't been around, right? For the most part, the Flood wrapped up in Halo 3 and in Halo 4 and Halo 5. We haven't really gotten any in the story. There hasn't been any in the story because they've been, they were wrapped up before.
Right.
So I like the faction. I think it's necessary, but I also hate fighting them, right? And I think they're supposed to be a pain in the ass to fight.
Right.
So they've done a good job of making that that distinction in the games, but also making you yearn for them again. Like I need some Flood to fight, right? Like that's part of the reason I like Halo. Is I like fighting against zombies eventually in some of these missions. So I'm a fan of the Flood. I think they're essential. But yeah, I wouldn't call them my favorite faction, but they're an essential faction for me.
Yeah, I think the Flood is kind of a testament to Halo about, like, I've always said Halo takes sci-fi tropes and they use it so much better, right? Like, you're fighting aliens, but the aliens are so awesome. Zombies in space, or like zombies on zombie movies, but like the Flood are so unique and so much lore is built into them that I think it's a take on the zombie genre like nothing else is. And so I think the Flood, though I have to agree with Colin, I would say they're probably my least favorite faction to fight, just because one Flood guy with the bazooka could end all of your wildest dreams. And so I'll say that they're very interesting, necessary, and the lore behind them is quite awesome. So
yeah. They've taken the zombie genre and they've spun it in a way to make it so it's not just a horde, but it's all, right. I mean, it is a horde, but then there's also this larger omniscient grave mind that just knows everything and has been around forever and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure that's been done in other sci-fi that I'm not read up on.
And it kind of links into, because like nowadays you can kind of see zombies are moving into this thinking zombie type deal. That they're smarter or they're learning together kind of thing. Army of the Dead or something like that kind of hints at that.
I got
Tom, what do you think? Oh, Gabe.
Sorry, no, I had a question actually, was because we were talking about how they're a pain in the butt to fight. Out of, I guess really it's only the original trilogy you have FPS interaction with the Flood. Out of the original trilogy, which kind of Flood is your favorite to fight? 1, 2, or 3? Because I personally, I think they all have different fighting. I feel like they all have different styles of how you have to take them out.
Yeah. 3's just hard.
They're a lot better balanced in 3. I think in 1 and 2, especially 1 in the library, it gets bloody ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Having replayed it recently on Heroic with my friends, that mission just gets to the point where it's tedious more so than
I literally was doing it last night. I was on the library and then had to do Halo 2 and went into Quarantine Zone.
Yep.
And they're just bullet sponges, dude.
That's hard.
They just soak up ammo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least
I like
Halo
the Halo
3
1.
Flood,
So, like, in library specifically, you can clear out all the Flood. I thought that they would just kept coming in waves and waves and waves.
Yeah.
But if you take your time and just kill everybody behind you and take out the Flood spores, they will stop coming. And maybe there's a part where they're infinite spawns. But one of the last times I played the library, I was like, okay, if I just take my time, it's not as panic-filled as if, I'm trying to speed run.
That's literally what we did. We were just running through like, we can jump up here and take a short.
That's where I think a lot of people get caught, is they just want to get past it and get it over with. But the more you do that, the more they gather, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Are you saying we played wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
I'll say I think Halo 3 does the best job of showing the evolution of the Flood with Flood tanks and those other.
True.
And, interestingly enough, we don't have what are those Flood called?
The stalkers and ranged forms.
Yeah,
as hell.
It'd be nice to get one of those guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I raised this point earlier, but touching back to Colin wanting to cram a Flood tank into a blind bag. I said that what you should do, is really quickly touch back on that, is just take a piece of the Flood tank and put it in each bag, so it's like a Build-A-Figure.
Yeah,
there you go.
Blind bag.
It's a great
so that
idea.
you can build a Flood tank at the end.
That's right. Like, here's an arm.
There he is.
Here's a leg. Here's a face. Yeah.
But you'd find the bag with the arm and be like, all right.
Exactly.
I know.
Or just the leg.
Arm
the tiny
again?
leg.
Come on!
Imagine if there was
for
like
real.
one army builder, you just get loads of legs sitting around and nothing else.
Jeez.
Okay, so Flood, cool. Everybody likes them. All right,
Yep.
let's get on to the sets. We got quite a few sets that go with the Flood and then kind of encapsulate the faction. And obviously, Colin brought up the Flood Hunter Falcon.
Yeah.
That has Flood figures. It's not technically a Flood set, but it is Flood-centered. So we're going to talk about that. So, gentlemen, of all of these, which one deserves to be on the most 10 memorable or most needed?
So let's just
action figure Delta Flood, clearly.
the
Alpha Flood.
Alpha,
Damn
the
it.
Alpha Flood. So I just want to draw a distinction because there's kind of three buckets of these. There's the flood sets, and those are like the sets that include a flood figure, and then there are flood figures that come individually, that either is part of a heroes set or a blind bag series, and then there's like flood themes, and so there's the game modes in Halo where you're kind of a flood. You're supposed to be a flood, but it's, what are they called, like Last Man Standing, and there's like the zombie pack, stuff like that. So they've kind of paid homage to those that are meant to be a flood type mode, but then they also represented them as they were in the game. So they're not making it at a flood. Yeah. They're actually giving you that kind of that look of the armor too.
I think it's worth noting that with... Sorry, Gabe, I'll be quick.
No, you're cool.
With a lot of these sets, like the Last Man Standing zombie pack, you could technically count that as infected and not flood, but the truth is there's just not that many flood sets, so it made sense for us to kind of group everything that's broadly speaking flood and zombie themed together, just so it's for a more interesting conversation.
They're in the same spirit.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how I look at it. The one thing that, as I was looking through the list, that I had forgotten about was we have gotten some newer stuff. So the Consano Cyclops.
Yeah.
Like when you think about
Halo
Consano,
Wars too.
she sat in the shelves for a while.
I have a fun story about that set as well.
But then they threw in a couple little floodies, the little infection forms as that, and then she can burn them up and whatnot. So that was cool. And then we also got the new helmet. The helmet is kind of the Last Man Standing, so kind of infected figure.
It's interesting. Newer. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Wait, so the Flood pod with the Elite Combat form and then the Flood pod in 2013, is that just the same pod that's the light brown one with tentacles?
I think it's the same one. Yeah, there's two of them and they look the same, so I don't know ones that were re-released.
There's a third one. There's the one that you helped me get a hold of, Colin, the Flood Hunters pod as well.
Oh, is there a Flood figure in that?
It's an ODST, but it's a Flood Hunter ODST.
Right. Okay, so it's just called Flood Hunter, but there's no Flood included, right?
It's
so that
Operation
would fit
Flood Hunter.
Okay.
Flood themed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flood themed.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll add it to the list.
Interesting.
Well, the essential one...
15 sets to discuss.
Well, the essential one has got to be Invasion, right? Like, that's the one where you get the tanks, right? And
I would say the essential is the Invasion, because it gives you standard Flood, pure forms, you get a small vehicle, you still get UNSC figures, and you get a structure that's like every part of different sets in one that someone could look for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great set. Yeah, you get that carrier form. Yeah, you get a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. That makes it to the list. It's probably number one, but
they even somehow managed to pull off an active camo Flood figure for the active camo people.
That's crazy.
Like they did a lot.
Interesting. Now, the thing about the Flood sets is I'm not super familiar with them. For some reason, there's a gap in my collection. Obviously, like I said in the previous episode, I don't have Flood.
He got snapped.
But I wasn't really around when they were released or coming out, so I think this was my dark period with collecting in the Mega Construct. So I don't know like a lot of these sets and what they come with. I'm very kind of, my knowledge on this is very, very limited.
Yeah.
But I think if you wanted to get the Flood Invasion in there, I think that's probably one of those sets that, like you said, gives it all to you that you need.
Yeah. It's worth noting that the vast majority of Flood sets have actually been exclusive as well. So the Falcon,
that's true.
The Falcon Flood Siege, the UNSC Hunters, Flood Hunters Battle Unit, Flood Invasion, Flood Gate.
Anniversary, it's an anniversary edition.
All of those were Toys R Us exclusive.
This is true.
Toys R Us, we miss you every day. And Last Man Standing stuff and the Containment Outpost and Containment Armory, they were all exclusive
Target
as well. I think, Target as well.
It was Target exclusives.
There's not been a
Interesting.
lot of broad flood out there. They've been very much limited to retail exclusives.
Which
think
is
that touches
ironic
back to-
because the flood is supposed to spread everywhere.
I think that touches back to Colin's point that when Mega came into this, the Flood were defeated. You know,
Yeah.
they were. The story for them was done. Obviously,
Well-
we kind of see them in Halo Wars 2, and I'm sure we'll see them again. But until that time,
Yeah,
until that
exactly.
time, Mega's kind of operating under that assumption.
Tom, add one. Add one to this list. You know, we just got Invasion. What else is essential?
Floodgate.
Floodgate.
That was the I would say that was the first time that they properly doubled down on the flood.
Now, save that energy, Gabe. Save that energy for when we want to debate which one's the top.
all
three.
right, all right.
Save
all
that
right.
one-
energy
which one-
so I can smack it out
which
of
one-
you later.
All right.
Which one do you add to the list, Gabe?
I'm gonna. Well, I want to go with the flood pod. Actually,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
I really want. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I'm just gonna throw the Falcon in there because I love the Falcon.
Yeah.
So, haha. And I know
I like
that the
it.
Falcon exists.
Right. You've seen it with your own
I've
eyes
seen it
today.
with my own eyes. So, yeah,
I think it's
throw that in.
interesting the flood. So didn't Kevin confirm in one of our shows when we were talking about Floodgate and Flood Invasion that they were made to work together?
He commented
Yeah.
it on the video we were talking
Yeah.
about Flood Invasion. Yeah.
So
Yep.
Floodgate came out in 2011, and Flood Invasion
damn
didn't
it.
come out until 2014. So it's cool that they went and looked back at that and said, okay, let's use that
Yeah.
same color scheme and
Synergy.
That's right. That's right.
It's cool because I think I think it's the Battle of New Mombasa. You can see the two sets connected up as part of the Mombasa cityscape that the guy put together for that video.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So with the guys at Mega are playing 3D blocks while we're playing checkers. So that's actually pretty neat. So hi Kevin, thank you for enlightening us on that.
That's right. I'll add one. I'll add Flood Siege as well. I mean, it's hard to leave that one off. The only
Matt
weird thing
cannon,
about
yeah.
that one is it's got the Matt cannon, but then that's just like a big mashup of a bunch of Halo stuff, right? Because it's got Reach in there and Flood in there, and like the elites have orange on, right? So they're they're elites though, aren't they? They're orange.
They're
elites, I
elite
believe.
combat forms. I mean, they're
Yeah, but with orange suits on, which I guess
Yeah.
you don't see much orange armor.
They
out of
were in
elites.
hazmat gear. They came prepared.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, is that
exactly.
it?
So it's a cool set. It's a very with a lot of playability with the little mongoose and whatnot. But it also is a little bit awkward from like a lore standpoint. All right, so we got 10 in our top 10 essential. What else we got?
Oh, I'm gonna add the Flood Hunters battle unit
ooh, good one.
because I like the fact that it was an easy way to get lots of infection forms. You could also get the carrier form, and although it doesn't technically count because they're not flood related, it was really cool getting a flamethrower and a missile pod easily.
You know, you know what I want to add to the list?
No, I don't.
He's
Alright.
stroking the goatee.
Uh oh. You know what that means?
I want to add the oh god, what the Clash on the Rings flood baggie where it just came with
The
the little
5-pack of
flood infection forms.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I feel
that?
like in like the Floodgate and the Flood Invasion sets, you get a handful of the infection forms as well as across the other sets, but that literally is just like so you can acquire mass quantities of the little flood poppers, which
Yeah. Should we
mean-
talk about those little guys, by the way? So I have the little squishy. Ooh, his little tentacle came off. So the new ones are squishy. I mean,
Yeah.
the other ones are squishy too. These are extra squishy.
I can't get over how
And
well
there's so
prepared
much
you are,
bigger.
Colin.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I took a
because-
page out of your book from last episode.
because these are done in
look
the
how much
Halo
bigger
2
Don't make them
do that on
anniversary style as opposed to
I
the
also-
They
Halo
interlock.
CE one.
Which one wins?
I also like how the new ones are bigger, and like especially like
Yeah.
Discovery
Yeah.
Outpost. You saw that
Yeah.
these things were like massive.
They're huge. They're like
Yeah.
the size of a
I know.
small dog.
I'm
crazy.
like, oh, so that's why when they jump on you, everyone's screaming. You're
Yeah.
a
for
7 foot
real.
Spartan. You're just like pop, 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 pop. And then you're like a human. Poor Jenkins.
Oh, Jenkins, that's right.
Rest in
I
peace,
always
Jenkins.
like how with those Mega include the hole in the bottom, and that was originally because in Floodgate the flood infection forms came with little transparent stands that would make them sit just above the floor to stop their tentacles from warping.
Oh,
I
that's
remember
cool.
that.
But now there's not that stand anymore, and they don't encourage it, but they basically leave it open for you to put that on a figure's head, and it will work on
Right.
a ball joint.
Yeah.
So although we don't get many flood forms, it's nice that you can get a little bit creative and create some of your own.
True.
All right, gentlemen, let's add another one to the list. I don't know where we left off. I think it's Gabe. I think it's your turn to add one.
I added the
Oh,
little
you added
squishies.
the squishies, right? So it's
Oh,
back to you.
so
Colin.
that's on the list or a part of the top 10? Because I didn't have it on the list originally, just of the sets to pick from.
No,
but you put it in the
that's
top 10?
my pick for the top 10. Yeah.
Okay,
I
I like
feel
that.
like that's a really good way to get a lot of massable flood pieces.
Well
Nice.
argued, sir.
All right, Colin, what do you think?
Back to me.
Back
I think
to
you owe
sir.
one. I think
Oh.
you
Yeah,
owe
you
one.
need to pick one, Matt.
Gee, see, I'm like,
Although the guy
don't
that doesn't
know.
own any.
I just don't know. To be honest, I don't
What
know.
looks interesting to you? That's I guess a good question. Like if you as you look through these, you know, what would you grab? That's not on
I'd
this list.
go Containment Outpost Patrol. I think that's awesome.
That's a
set.
good set.
I think I'll
It's
go
a
with
super
that. I
cool
think
set.
It's one we've had on our. I think we had that on. Was that Halo Wars or Halo 4?
That might
Halo
have been Reach.
Oh, Reach. You're right.
Yeah.
Reach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
we
we're
discussed
talking
that.
about the Banshee on the graphic, weren't we?
Mhm.
Right. And I think it's an excellent set that is in that kind of vein of zombie-ish. So
Yep.
we'll go with that one.
And then it's got the Cyclops, which Gabe loves. And then it's very buildable and whatnot. Yeah, it's a cool little set.
No.
Get out of my ear hole.
Gee.
That was punishment.
Oh dear.
All right. What else do I want to go for? I think I gotta go with keys.
Quit
Oh,
your
okay.
belly aching.
That's good.
It's stow the belly aching, not quit your belly aching. If you're gonna
I mean,
pull
it's-
keys, get it right.
Yeah, I mean, I really want Floodgate on there because it's a thing, like it's a structure. Or wait, do we have Floodgate? Oh, we do have Floodgate.
I've
Okay,
put
never
it,
mind.
mate. What
Yeah,
are you
sorry,
doing?
we're good. Keys, it is because
Yeah.
Keys. He's got
Good
a
pick.
squishy little body. This is a unique piece on there.
He's got a squishy little body.
And yeah, it's like him proto keys. It's like as he's getting taken over and trying to, that madness. What is it? Terminal is so cool.
Yeah.
That kind of is
Oh,
a
it's
little bit of
heartbreaking.
an homage to that. So it's cool.
Take his head off and put on an infection form, and you have quite a cool flood figure as well.
Have you done it?
I've got one of my ODSTs that's like hot posh of spare figures set up like that.
Oh, poor keys.
That poor ODST.
Poor keys.
Oh gosh. It's a shame that Chief had to take his head apart just to get the neural implants.
That's right.
This man really just.
Chief's like, oh, my oldest friend. All right.
He should have done that to Del Rio.
Oh.
He's
Anyway, so moving on.
So wait,
All right,
So-
we're at 9.
One
Can I-
What are we
can I-
missing?
Wait a second. Gabe, you don't like Senator Del Rio? Come now.
Senator, that's right.
Del Rio.
Can,
Del Rio
I-
can get.
Can I,
That should show you the state of politics in the Halo universe in the can.
can
Tom,
I
what's
pick number
what's up?
10?
No.
Okay, no, you can't. I'm sorry.
All right, Tom, go ahead. Oh, I think Tom froze.
Oh no.
So number 10 for me is going to be Kinsano Cyclops Raid, purely
Really?
because I have a very fun little story to attach to this, which gives it sentimental value for me at least.
Well, are you
She's-
picking it because it's a cool flood set, or because you want to
Gabe,
tell
shut
your
up.
story? Like,
Gabe, I think you've had your turn, so stow the belly aching.
Yeah.
Don't make me mute you.
I'm a leatherneck. I'm sorry. I forgot.
So this set was one that was on store shelves for quite a while, and for a while it was one of the only ways you could get a little bit of flood.
True.
Because there wasn't much else out. And I can remember when I was in Pittsburgh in 2019, it is the only big buildable set that I bought while I was out in America and then brought home with me. So I got that and a few of the like Stormbound blind bags and that kind of stuff. And I just think it represents quite a cool aspect of the Halo universe in regards to the Floods. Because in terms of Halo Wars 2, the Flood do actually get quite a bit of expansive lore added to them. Because obviously you have the fact that Hellbringers have been essentially developed to fight against the Flood, and that's why Kinsano leads them.
Yeah.
And you also have everything to do with the Ark and them finding the remnants of the Flood in High Charity as well. So
I think that's such a
think
cool
it just-
storyline.
It captures the very, very tip of Halo Wars 2's connection with the Flood. And
Nice.
it's something I wish they had used to explore more of in the future, rather than just doing like the one set and leaving it there.
Right.
So I want you to expound upon the Cyclops and discuss it in relation with the previous Cyclops before. Like, obviously, we got the ones that Gabe loves, and then we got the ones that they redesigned for Halo Wars 2. So how does this compare to those? What's the, those are Gabe's favorite, by the way, Colin.
Colin, you're
Well,
getting a pay rise.
don't forget that I'm ignoring both of y'all. Don't forget you can take the Kinsano Cyclops and mix it with the, what is it, the Hornet? And you can make like a really cool looking, it's almost like a
walker.
Yeah. Looks like one of those things out of Avatar.
Yeah.
An amp suit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never built the middle sort of Cyclopses from Halo Wars 2. I really wanted to, despite all the bad things people said about them, because I thought they looked quite cool.
Yeah.
But I never got one. But I thought that this is quite a good build. It's quite posable. You've got printed details for her flamethrowers, which are really nice. And also you get the removable flame pieces, which are really cool. The tanks on the back are well designed, and I just think it kind of encapsulates the Cyclops appearance quite nicely, and that does look very cool, Matt.
I think the thing to say about these Halo Wars 2 Cyclops redesigns is they look so badass.
They look cool.
Yeah.
They just can't move without something coming off. I mean, like, they look awesome, but they just don't.
And they're way
look
more
like...
functional in Halo Wars 2. Like Halo Wars 1 Cyclops is... I think Mega did a good job of representing the two different styles.
True.
But Halo Wars 1, all they do is punch. That's it. Whereas those things can do more things.
You see them like sprinting in the cinematic
Yeah.
trailer, which
Oh,
is
So
that's such a good
savage.
trailer.
yeah.
I know you.
So I think that's number 10 decided then, gentlemen.
Well, do we
Okay.
have any honorable mentions or anything that we should include? Like, we have Battlescape that we haven't touched on, but I don't think that deserves to be on the list.
I think
It
it's
is-
better
Nah.
from a Forerunner perspective than it is a Flood perspective.
I'll say
No,
that
actually, I'd say Marine more so than anything. I'm thinking about Escape 3.
I'd say that the Prophet of Mercy, or as like Tom likes to call him, the Regret. I think he deserves an honorable mention.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Savage.
And then, so is Keys is the only straight figure, right? Like
Well,
like
technically,
the
if
Alpha.
you count Gabe's little flood infection spores,
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't count.
they are figures. They're people too.
But
They're
then we
part
didn't
of
do
the
any.
grapevine.
We didn't do
Flood
any
rights
of the like what is it called? Faithful vs Fallen. Like those style of like that battle mode, the infected
don't-
battle mode. Those deserve to be on this list.
I
mean,
don't-
it's a little different.
I don't think of infection as Flood. Like if I feel there's a very, very clear line between there's Flood and then there's the infection multiplayer game type. I don't think like Faithful Has Fallen, super cool set. I love it. I had like 4 of them at one point, but
Yeah.
not in my head Flood in the way that we think of them.
You could say he doesn't think it's a faithful representation of the flood.
You could say that.
So you're
But we
saying
won't.
it's fallen from glory?
I
Oh,
hate
would you
this
look at
show.
that? My sense
Guys,
of humor is contagious.
That's enough. I'm the only dad here, and you guys are just destroying me in the dad jokes.
Oh, hey,
Sorry,
apparently,
they're
though,
infectious.
do you guys know when a dad joke becomes a dad joke?
No.
When it becomes apparent.
Oh my gosh.
That's good. I actually am going to steal that one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so who's in number 9? I'd vote.
So that's 10.
Yeah.
I think if this is, I mean, I'm comfortable with that. I'm not going to argue that the infected need to be on this list. I mean, we've got a bunch of good, like, part of what makes it a flood is because they look like a flood, right? Like that's the reason that they're on this list. So I at least wanted to put them on here so that we could talk about them and mention them because they are kind of
Right.
in that same realm. And I don't know where else they would fit, to be honest, in our top 10 lists. So I just wanted to at least get them on here.
We have Containment Outpost representing, too, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
True.
that's
We
a
got
good
one
point.
in there.
that's a good one.
But
probably
let's
the
talk
best
about the top 3 then, like because I feel like ordering these on the bottom is going to be kind of weird.
Yeah.
So let's just do a top 3. I think.
Yeah, so which one is the best flood set? Let's just see if we can all agree on the top number 1. What's the best
Flood
one?
Invasion.
I genuinely
Invasion.
think Invasion. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You
Yep.
get
Yep.
the biggest variety of flood figures.
You get
some UNSC
Marines,
figures to counteract
carrier,
them.
pure
You get
forms.
structure. You get an infected flood vehicle, which
Mhm.
is really cool. It's just the perfect package for somebody wanting to get loads
Yeah.
of flood.
Do you get
Yeah.
pure forms or do you get tank forms?
They're
Tanks
tank
are
forms.
pure
Yeah.
forms.
Well, almost. They'll transition into like a pure form is the spiky version, right?
Yeah. and
Are
they-
tanks
they-
not pure forms, just the ranged and the stalkers? I thought tanks were pure forms as well.
So, podcast evolved. Your lore expert.
Yeah. Let's ask Krista. Krista knows the answer to that.
Right,
I must not
right.
have been
Might-
paying attention when we were talking.
Anyway,
Might be. But they have their own
it's-
special name, though. That's what my thing is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still cool that they gave us
It's-
like a carrier, a
I
tank,
do
combat,
I
infection
want to say
forms.
quickly, one thing I really want to see Mega tackle at some point is the Juggernauts from the Halo 2 Awaken the Nightmare
Oh,
cutscene.
those
Ooh,
are
yes.
And they're scary.
Yeah. Halo Wars has
That's it,
given us a
that's
lot
my
of different variations
That's
of
it.
flood. So I mean, there are other forms out there that we haven't seen.
The one
So,
with like
could
the
we-
tentacle that grabs you is really creepy.
Yeah. Or like those little flying birds, like those little, skinned
Well, I
bats.
remember, and Gabe will probably remember this. I'm hoping you'll remember it. I don't know
Probably
if you guys
will.
have ever seen it. But back in the day, there were a couple of people who took the old Mega Bloks Kraken from the Pirates of the Caribbean line.
Brian
and turned
Lytle.
that into grave mines. Yes.
Brian Lytle on Facebook
Brian is
built
such a cool
a
guy.
grave mind, and it's nuts.
He turned a Kraken into a grave mind, and I remember for ages people were always like, Mega are gonna do that one day.
Yeah,
They
right.
need
That'd be
to.
rad.
Well, I'll find
That's
a
it,
picture.
that's me being off topic done.
I'll find a picture and we'll put it up in here for you guys to have a visual.
Nice,
but it's
nice.
beautiful.
Cool.
So what you're saying is he's Davy Jones. Dun dun dun. All right. So flood invasion number 1. I
Yeah.
I
can't
think that's
argue
out
with
that
that.
question. Yeah.
Yeah,
feel like that's good.
I think the flood tanks just kind of carry it over, even if it wasn't. So what do we think? Number 2.
Number 2's a little harder, right?
Yeah, I feel
Well,
like
it's
it would be
clearly the Falcon.
easy. I feel like it'd be
Can you read me
easy to
the
say,
list
"Ooh, the
again?
floodgate," because it's another. It pairs with the invasion, but like, I kind of feel. I feel like it's the same thing. Like I said when we were talking about these sets the first time. Like I feel like it's redundant to put invasion and then floodgate because I mean invasion is just a better version of floodgate. So.
Sure. Yeah,
that's right,
I mean,
you hate
there's
floodgate.
different elements. Like there's
Yeah.
that little truck, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
And I think I have it here too. I'm very prepared.
You are man.
Somebody
I
give
have-
this man a bonus.
this.
That was a
which
good
is,
piece,
It's a cool
yeah.
little structure. I mean, it's basic, but it's also kind of cool, and it's in the game too, which is
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah, I think that's the strongest part about it is that you can actually be like, oh, hey,
That's
the
where I
set from
am.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's
exactly.
cool.
But I don't know if it's a top 3 though. To your point, Gabe, I think some of the others like does Keys deserve to be in the top 3? Just having Keys in his squishy little proto grave mind.
In my opinion, and you guys might disagree with this, I would say the top 3 should probably be the things that give you the most variety of flood and give you the opportunity to amass them.
I was thinking the blind packs, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the variety. I think sometimes a set with just one thing, like the blind bags, can offer quite a bit too.
Yeah. Because you get 5 infection forms.
I'll say Keys is a strong figure, but I feel like as a flood thing, it's kind of more of a flood attachment.
Yeah, it's like
And
if you want it.
Yeah, I think it's more of a.
Sure.
I mean, but I don't think that I think the uniqueness of having that moment with Keys can't be discounted either, because I think it's a very unique piece.
Yeah, but I also would argue that I like the flood piece with Keys, but I don't think it fully captures his appearance, and I know it's hard to do that in a Heroes pack.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of looks a little bit like you've just... Mega, please don't hate me for this. It kind of looks a little bit like he's just got loads of plasticine wrapped around the cool figure.
He's just wearing a flood coat.
Yeah.
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 His flood backpack. Oh, guys.
Right.
Like, we can all appreciate the idea, but if you're looking at the
Yeah.
figure, it's kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, he took a bubble bath. Sick.
So does the Falcon? I mean, the Falcon's amazing, and I mean, you do get the
Carrier
what is
forms.
it? The carrier form.
Yeah,
so
the
that's
carriers.
legit, right? And it's just like it's such a beautiful piece.
Yeah. I
and if you
think
don't have a Falcon, it's nice.
I think that's a strong argument for it, is that it has the carrier forms. I think they're an integral part to your encounter with the Flood. Like, if you haven't been blown up by one of those things in CE, are you even a Halo fan?
Oh, man. The pain.
Right.
I would make an argument for the Flood Hunters battle unit, because that comes with a carrier form. It comes with
Infection
6
forms, doesn't
infection
it?
forms,
Yeah.
and it also comes with an elite combat form. And I think that kind of pack, obviously, it is an army builder. I think I got 2 of them and I just threw the Spartans to the side and didn't really care for them. But you get those figures in it, and also with something like the elite, I think because all of the elites, at least back then, many of them used the same like combat elite harness mold, so you could just swap in different colours and things to make it a different variant of the elite combat unit. So I think it just had a lot of usability if you were looking to build your flood forces. But to the detriment of that, it was an exclusive though, so it was a little bit harder to acquire.
Right.
Yeah, and then aftermarket, I'm sure, is crazy on that. I know I paid a little bit too much for that for mine.
What about Flood Siege, guys? What do you guys think about that? Does that deserve to be up there?
Flood Siege is weird because it's like canonically a mashup, so and that kind of bothers me for some reason.
I don't like the Reach and Halo 3 Flood.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a stretch to think that the Flood encountered a Mac cannon on Halo 3. I mean, in Halo 3, right? Like, New Mombasa probably had a Mac cannon, or at least an old one lying around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
So I don't know if it's uncanonical, but it's something we've never seen, right?
I think
Yeah.
Flood Siege for me has always been a set that I really wanted for the structure more so than anything else.
I don't feel like we can argue that the Flood Siege is weird canonically when there's a Falcon fighting the Flood.
Yeah.
I mean,
The Flood were on Reach, Gabe?
they're kind of, you know.
This is true.
That's why George is still alive. Cause
Yeah.
he's a
Stop.
zombie.
Don't
But
talk
maybe we
about
should
my
take that
man.
out of the equation, the canonical aspect of it. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. It's more about the playability of the set, the build, all that sort of stuff. But for me, it's just a little weird.
I really like the Flood drop pod.
Yeah,
I
that's another
really
strong
like the
contender.
flood pod, but I think I like it so much just because, like, in Halo 3, where the only time you ever see a flood pod, with the exception of Halo Wars, maybe, you only see it on the last mission for like a couple frames.
Yeah.
They come down from the sky and then they pop, and that's the only time you see them. But like as an idea, like as a set, I just thought they were really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Because if you get a bunch of them, you can plant them all around like a big setup or something. You can use all the pieces and the tentacles, and they come with little flood poppers. And I thought they were really cool. But that's also because
I think they are. I think the drop pod series, whether it's ODST or Elite, Omega has done an exceptional job with all of them.
Yeah, that's a great
I'd love
line.
to see it come back. I think it would fit well within the current assortment.
Well, they tried to do those cryopods, which
Yeah.
I don't think ever saw the light of day, or at least I
right.
never saw them.
Yeah, they're available here on eBay, I think, but they're like £8 a cryopod.
Ooh, shoot.
Maybe I should buy them and do a review.
So-
and see.
So what do we got? We have Invasion number 1. Is Blind
Yeah.
Pack number 3?
Yeah,
Did
I'd
we
say
agree on that?
Just from the massability, like why would
Yeah.
that be on versus the Consano set? Because you get some.
But
Well, 'cause
okay,
it's-
so why would the blind bag beat out the Flood Hunters battle unit? Because Tom said it comes with 6
that's a
flood
fair
spores.
point.
It comes with 6 of those, so
Well-
you get that and that.
My strongest point with the Blind Pack is just that it's, depending where you live. Where I live, that's like $250 for 5 flood forms.
Yeah.
Spores.
And I mean, the Flood Hunters battle unit, I forget what was it, MSRP, it
I
was like
think
15,
it was
20,
$14.99.
yeah, like $15, and you get, you get the 6 little flood forms and a carrier and,
And
a
a
combat
combat
elite.
form.
But I mean,
I think the
don't know,
carrier. See, I think the carrier pushes it over the blind
Yeah.
pags.
Yeah.
Because
To
I
date,
think
it was the cheapest way
Okay.
to get the carrier.
I just think like nothing. I will totally back you up on the idea that blind bag is exceptional. But
Right.
if we're looking at like obviously accessibility and amassability are parts of the equation. But if we're just comparing sets to sets, which one would you rather have?
oh no, I would
Yeah.
definitely buy a Flood Hunters battle unit. But I'm just thinking, if someone's trying to like amass a flood army,
Yeah.
they're probably gonna
Yeah.
have a way easier time with a blind pack, obviously, instead of the
Yeah.
battle unit. But I mean, no, I'm not bothered by that. The Flood Hunters, I had both. I had the Falcon and the battle unit, and the battle unit was awesome. I liked it.
Can we just appreciate that before the show we were all saying, "Oh, this is going to be really short because we'll all agree,"
Yeah.
and then none of us are agreeing on.
But I
top
think
three.
that's the argument for not doing a top 10 because I
Yeah.
feel like the flood is a little bit more personal to everybody. Everybody has their own
Yeah.
interpretation or their own preferences,
Yeah.
whereas battling it out to make that list is a little bit harder. Even making a top 3 is hard, which
Yep.
is weird. I didn't expect that.
So I'm going to come in with the argument Kinsano shouldn't be in the top 3. 'Cause
I
it's
agree.
A nice set,
I agree.
but it's not massable. There's only one Kinsano because it's a named character.
I'll say it's kind of falls for me in that key set, whereas the flood seems like an addition to the set. Like
Yeah.
the flood thing is an addition to keys, so I wouldn't say it's flood centric like flood invasion or floodgate.
and I don't think containment outpost belongs in top 3 because there is no flood in it.
Yep,
It's
I
like
agree.
a flood theme.
I mean,
agree.
to be
And it's a
honest-
cool set.
After all of after all the smack I talked about the Floodgate, maybe we should use the Floodgate.
Gabe, I didn't hear that. Can you just... one more time?
Nah, it's just maybe the Floodgate is a good option. I don't know.
Sounds
Like a
the gate's
pure
open.
flood standpoint.
Goodness.
Because those
Gabe
little
has a
vehicles
character.
that are included are
Because
in
like
Halo
when you
3,
think
right?
of the Floodgate, I've done a complete. Oh my god! When you think of the Floodgate, it gives you a little mock Master Chief and a Marine. You get a Marine flood and an Elite flood. You get the little base and the truck. Why am I arguing for this?
Look at
What
you.
the-
You
get
come
a
around.
fusion coils, you get a crate, you get a... I tell
Get-
you what, actually, this is back in the day when they were still printing the flamethrower, so you get the little shark decal on the end
True.
of it as well.
Gabe, you do
Yeah.
this hilarious thing that you argue against a set, and then later you're arguing for it.
No.
I will say as well, I think this was with that combat form, the elite combat form. I'm looking at it now. I remember that had probably the purest flood color that I think we've seen. So it was this really nice, like, sort of like creamy tan color that they didn't quite do again, where it had some extra speckling in it.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that that set was a 10-year anniversary set, so it was kind of
True.
designed to encapsulate Halo 3 in a set, and I think it does that quite well. When you look at it, you instantly know, oh, it's this level from this game, because it's named after the level.
And you can pair it with the invasion. I hate myself.
Okay.
So it
Gentlemen.
sounds like this idea is invading now.
Oh boy. All right, gentlemen, really quick. Pick, if you had to list your top 3, let's go around the room and everybody will list their top 3, and then we'll see if we can battle it out. So, obviously Invasion's number 1, so slot in what you think are the next 2. So Colin, we'll start with you and see if this gets us somewhere. What is your top 3?
I'll go Floodgate and then the Falcon.
Floodgate, Falcon. Tom?
Oh, Floodgate, Floodhunters Battle Unit.
Gabe?
Floodgate and the battle unit.
I will also agree with Floodgate Battle Unit.
There we go. Looks like I've been overruled.
Thank you for joining another episode.
See, now, if Floodgate didn't have...
Can you imagine what it would
carrier
have been
form.
like if I didn't say Floodgate? Can you imagine?
I'll say if Battle Unit didn't have a carrier form, I would have gone with the Falcon.
Yeah,
I think the carrier form is strong as a like staple in the Flood evolution. I think it's strong, but because the Battle Unit has the spores, it has the carrier form, I think it's a strong contender. I think the crazy thing about these 3 sets is they pair beautifully well together. All 3 of the top 3.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and like I said, the Falcon's beautiful, and I love the Falcon. But and again, it's weird leaving a big, nice set off of it. But it's a pure Flood set, which is cool.
Yeah. I think if we were going on like which is the best build, the Falcon would have to be on the top.
It's different.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like this will also make those people happy, with the biggest set always wins. Nah,
Hey,
not
that was
necessarily.
me.
I mean,
What are you trying to those people? What do you mean by that?
I didn't want to single you out. But, look, battle units up there. I mean, we're doing pretty good.
Yep.
We're all right.
Yep.
Well, technically,
I'm really confused right now. So is it... It must be. I think the Hunters unit comes with a unique coloured carrier form as well. I think that's the chocolate colour that some of the other
chocolate
figures
colour,
in the
he
Invasion
says.
set are. Because I'm sure I've got a chocolate one as well. And
a chocolate Flood cheap.
The chocolate one.
it's just what I
Right.
think
Does
of
it
it.
have
There's
nuts
like
in
no
it too?
speckling or anything in the figure. I'm sure I've got that. Yeah, I'm sure it's that colour in that set, so it's a unique figure to it as well.
I'm glad you told us that.
Interesting. Well, gentlemen, it looks like we have a top 3 with
I like
expansive must-have top 10 sets, or at least, ones that we consider to be kind of in that spirit or in that vein of capturing all things Flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice work.
That's awesome. We have done it again.
Sweet.
That's right.
Can I ask you all a quick question?
No.
Perhaps.
If you could see Mega make one Flood item now,
No.
because we've said that there's not many of them, what would you want them to make?
Ranged form. Immediately.
Gravemind.
Oh, dang it, Colin. I was going to say Pure Form, and then you had to come in with Gravemind, and I'm going to have to agree. Gravemind, yeah. It needs to be a monument to all of their sins, yeah.
All of our sins. Yeah.
Exactly. You got to have that.
But it's a buildable Gravemind, or it's just like a big, squishy Gravemind?
Jeez.
It's
gotta be buildable, right?
They'd find a way to make it buildable.
I would hope buildable. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind if they did a big squishy Pure Form, but a Gravemind buildable.
That'd be
Okay, cool. Mine would be a Brute Combat form.
Sick.
That would
yeah.
be nice.
Over a Gravemind, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Really? That's interesting.
Well, another cool thing, another thing that I think would be really cool is, because I've made a custom of this one, is the Halo 2 Anniversary Flood Spartans, where it's coming out of the helmet.
Yeah.
That would be super sick, because all they'd have to do is a helmet
Right.
mold.
But I asked for one thing, Gabe.
What's that?
Oh, you know what would be, and this is just like me going off the reservation. You know what would be really cool is if Mega made a set that was just a hallway and it was all covered in like you know how they did the battlescape,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
inside it's like in flood kind of feel, and maybe add some like squishy elements to it.
Real feel
cool.
play feature.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just
That could
kind
be
of have
cool.
like
How
little
can we-
eggs in between. That would look awesome.
How can we build a colon and sell it to children?
Japers.
You know, the Halo games have this weird part.
Well, that'll do
The
it
little
for the show.
sphincters.
Thanks
The
for
sphincter
joining,
doors.
Bill.
Sphincter doors. Sweet.
What?
I hope you've got good control.
Yeah.
Anyway, so,
All right.
Messy.
Community shoutouts?
yeah, community.
Matt, are you happy for me to take away the community shoutouts?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Okay, so on our Discord, we had Dragonstone H, who shared some really cool photos of their custom-built UNSC frigate on some classic Mega Bloks base plates, which was really cool to see as well.
Nostalgia.
I'll put photos of these up in the drive so you guys on the call can see them, and then you guys listening can see them.
There
Well,
you go.
watching, if you're listening, you can't, because that's not how ears work, sorry. And then also... Tactical Sponge on the MCX forums posted a really cool photo of an ODST squad that I wanted to shout out because I love ODSTs.
Very nice.
Awesome. I think I'll just shout out Bovie again and John on the Drift. Always nice to see you guys' comments on the episodes. Thank you so much for your support. Anybody else got anything to shout out? Gabe, Colin?
I got nothing.
No, I'm all right.
All right. Well, then, that will do it for the show. Thanks for joining Builds with Blocks. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to support us on Patreon. And as next time, evolved.
Evolved.
Tom.
Okay.
Evolved.
Evolve!